There is a big hunger, and there is a smaller hunger in us. That's what an African wisdom says. And for the small hunger in us, we take good care of that. We eat, and we get gifts, and all of that takes care of our smaller hunger. But the big hunger cannot be taken care of or cannot be satisfied by food alone or by glitter or glimmer or gadgets or so on. So what do we do with that big hunger? What do we do with the longing of our hearts? The longing that is in every one of us and that cannot be filled or satisfied with stuff. Well, I wonder whether the characters of the Nativity, or at least some of them, can point us in the right direction where that big hunger can be touched and where we can open up and feel some energy, some encounter, some relationship to touch us in that place. And yes, as in the Christmas story, there's a lot of disruption going on, unexpected things happening. And often, isn't it, in the unexpected places that are an invitation for us to open up. When we get out of our routine, when we get out of what we usually do, when something goes wrong, when we're getting like, yikes, this didn't go the way I wanted it to go. So what is the invitation in those situations? What can we learn from the characters of the Nativity? Well, one from Mary. Mary was a teenager. Any one of you remembers what it was like to be a teenager? Just not feeling quite comfortable in your body, not knowing, are you still a child? Are you grown up? Are you this in between, this awkwardness, feeling like you have two left legs and not quite belonging, not quite part of either world, the childhood or the adult, the grown, the mature part. So in that situation, in this uncomfortable feeling for Mary, she's expecting, she gets pregnant. In addition to being a teenager, talking about disruption, talking about unexpected, talking about the world turning upside down for her and for the whole family system. And in that upsetting and disrupting the unexpected, God chooses Mary. He says, "You are my favorite one." And if you put yourself into Mary's shoes, if you put yourself in her position and listen deeply for God saying to you through a messenger, and angels are messengers, period. They don't have wings or whatever in the Bible. They're messengers. Imagine God's messenger saying, God favors you. Yes, you. God favors you. God favors you. God delights in you. God looks upon you with kindness. God chooses you, just you. Imagine, God chooses you. You're precious. You're amazing in God's sight. And what Mary does, she says yes. She says yes. So the answer to God's choosing you is yes. May it be as you want it, God. And yes wasn't always easy for her. We know her journey with Jesus right at the very end of his life. Taking him down from the cross, she's holding his body, pietà. So talking about disruption, talking about heartbreak, talking about her life falling apart together with Jesus. So choosing God's calling you doesn't mean it's free of hardship. No. may just be the opposite. What about Joseph? Well, Joseph, besides having a little bit of a fragile male ego, he tried to get out of the situation, kind of getting cold feet, sneaking out, pushing away. He's kind of this guy who doesn't like conflict, just walking off, washing his hands of a challenging situation. And why? Well, when it gets really sticky, when it's a tricky situation, he has this ambivalence. He doesn't want to deal with a challenging situation. So he's a little bit scared, afraid, anxious, doesn't know what to do. And the message of the angel, again, God's message comes to Joseph saying like, don't be scared. You know what? Lean into this situation. Don't run from it. Be courageous or have balls, Joseph. Yes. Embrace Mary. There is a fragile baby. Just do your part. Care for them. Adopt them. Love them. And we all know it takes one grown, mature adult to help people who are just don't find their way, teenagers and children, one stable relationship with an adult. And Joseph does that. Now, was it easy for him? It was not. And aren't we invited to be courageous and be bold, just like Anne Lamott said? Courage is fear that sets its prayers. So it's never the absence of fear that gets you going, but going forward in spite of not knowing. That's the invitation for Joseph. So what are the tricky situations for you? What is it that where you would rather want to step back, wash your hands off, turn and walk off? In what situation are you called to turn toward the challenging situation and to say, yes, I do face it? Well, next characters here are the shepherds. The shepherds during that time stand for all those who are left out from society, those who live on the margins, those who are looked down on, those whom we'd rather do not have in our lives, in our relationships, the ones who are just, don't fit in. People who make us uncomfortable. And we think like, who are those people today in our society? Well, we do know them, don't we? I've seen some of the nativities, the Holy Family missing with a sign there. Yes, ICE. We've heard and seen groups of people, LGBTQ plus people, just not so comfortable. So who are the ones who are in detention or deported or not belonging, foreigners, where we feel like people who make us uncomfortable? And yes, when we went caroling and when I brought home communion to people in the nursing home, one man tearing up and sobbing because he knew, I've not been forgotten. I belong. Someone came to visit. Someone cared. Again, someone on the margin, someone who is vulnerable, someone who doesn't belong, to whom we can turn. So who are the people whom you would rather not have close by in your life or live with or rather turn away from? Who are they? For the glory of God came to the shepherds first. The good news came to the shepherds first. And who brought them the good news? Well, angels, and are we not all to be those messengers? Are we not all to be those messengers to share that good news? Well, if you have a good nativity at home, you may or may not have a pig in it. Yeah, a pig. I know. Someone telling me or someone else, you are a pig. Now, this pig looks almost like it has some lipstick on it, too. We try to do that, too, with the ugly, with the uncomfortable situations in our lives. But it stands in the Jewish tradition as what is not clean. What do we try to push away, leave it outside, not have it be part of our lives? That's what the pig stands for. Our instinctual parts, whatever we try to be separated from. And finally, well, not in this nativity, but if you see Christmas cards and you see the Holy Family, from where does the light come? Usually the light shines from the baby infant. So there's not a spotlight, there is something of the radiating light in every nativity, in every place. And just as the children sang in the bleak midwinter, when it's hard as iron, when it's cold as stone, are we not all longing for that light, opening up to that warmth, opening up to the embrace, opening up that we are welcome with our broken parts? Now, the Bonhoeffer family, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, his older brother, died in World War I. And they created a very interesting Christmas tradition. Whenever they put up a tree, a Christmas tree, their Christmas had never ever been perfect since their son had died. So what they did, every single year they put up a Christmas tree, they took a saw to it. They cut off one of the branches. They took one of the candles with the branch and brought it to the cemetery. Their brokenness, their imperfection, not all that beautiful that Christmas anymore, because part of their hearts were in the cemetery, in the brokenness. So where and how do you experience that brokenness where you are longing? Where is that big hunger in you that is open, that wants to be fed and be nurtured? Will you open up and follow one of these characters when you're uncomfortable, feeling like don't belonging like Mary, or when you try to get out of the sticky situation like Joseph, or when you're like a shepherd, feeling like ostracized or not belonging, or when you realize you're longing for that light? Maybe you are invited to reflect that very light to someone else. How will you do that?